What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 6 of Stunlock. I'm Brian Woods.
I'm Bailey Reeves.
And this will probably be sorry we missed a week. Bailey was sick. I was
dying.
Not
I'm
right.
still dying a little bit.
Yeah, what did you have? How you feeling?
I don't know. I had some grave illness. It just made it so that every morning I woke up unable to breathe. I had to take a shower to clear my nose, and then I just spent the rest of the day feeling bad and coughing and sneezing.
Do you have COVID?
Usual stuff.
Was
I don't
it
think
COVID,
so.
Bailey?
I mean, I got the booster and everything, so I'd like to think not, although I didn't get tested.
I got COVID after I got the booster.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's all fucking lie. Then why'd I get any of these damn shots?
I mean, I didn't die. I'm fucking morbidly obese. I didn't die instantly. I didn't choke on my own fluids. So I guess that
My
worked
children
out.
aren't going to school, Brian. They're not getting any shots.
Do you have a backup recording going? Just checking in real quick. Don't worry. Okay. Today we're talking. This was probably a mellow episode until one of us gets pissed off or really excited because it was a bit early for us. I don't know how to really phrase this prompt, but I just kind of like it in fiction when things get really stupid, but in a based way. And that's a little hard to describe. So I can maybe, Bailey, how about you start with your interpretation of the prompt? We're kind of artists here,
Yeah, so the vibe I got from what you were talking about is when a movie or I guess a show, a game, whatever, just kind of shows you something that kind of changes doesn't necessarily have to change the story at all, but it changes some sort of dynamic in it that is just so fucking insane and out of left field that it's just it's really cool. It's really funny.
That's actually a great way to put it. Yeah, these things are in my life a lot. I have 5 probably. I mean, I have several in my life. I can't remember all of them, right? Because they come, they skull fuck my brain, and then they leave. But I guess I'll start with Transformers. Me and my roommate have spent April watching Michael Bay's Transformers Quintology because it's April.
How many Transformers movies are there?
He did 5 of them. There's also a Bumblebee movie, which is actually apparently unironically good, but he didn't do it, so we don't care.
Yeah, who gives a fuck about that?
Yeah, but there's 5 of them. They're dog shit. They're making a 6th one. And throughout it, I didn't see 2. He watched that with his brother somewhere. I didn't. Apparently, it was terrible. They're all terrible. I didn't really care. So I mean, throughout the movie, in the first one, they reveal that oh yeah, cell phones, microchips, processors. These are all things we stole off of Megatron's body and reverse engineered. And I'm like, okay, that's stupid.
I forgot about that. I think I've seen the first 2.
But they kind of keep advancing on this, right? They kind of keep going back to this, yeah. And then in 5, and then in 4, they're oh shit, I guess the Transformers precursors. They're pink little fleshy guys. All we see is a hand. They show up and they kill all the dinosaurs. And it turns out there was no meteor.
Wait, there's precursors to the robots that are actual living things?
I mean, someone had to have made the Transformers, right? They're robots. You can't just, come out of nothing like that, right?
Why not?
I don't know. They're robots. They're AI. I don't know.
That's so
but
weird.
I don't know. There's this. There was no meteor. It was actually the aliens that killed all the dinosaurs, and that's funny. And then in 5, it opens with King Arthur, and there's Transformers there. And then
Knights of the Round Table?
Yes, Knights of the Round Table. There were Transformers as part of the Knights of the Round Table. Merlin knew a Transformer, and that's why he was magic. And a dragon comes, and it's a robot dragon.
Robot dragon. Let's go.
And this is already based enough, right? This is awesome. And I at this point, this is 2 Mark Wahlberg Transformers in. I'm missing Shia LaBeouf. Mark Wahlberg doesn't have the Shia swag. In Transformers 3...
Shia LaBeouf doesn't have the hate crime experience, so I think it kind of evens out.
Yeah, dude, Shia LaBeouf would just scream in these movies, and it was so funny because it's clearly kind of supposed to be funny. He's a loser, which is why? He hits his car, he gets in a car accident. He's why? what? And that's awesome. And I'm missing it. I'm missing it at this point. I'm like desperate. I'm like, they didn't even talk about Sam Witwicky in the 4th movie. They refuse. And then in 5, they meet Anthony Hopkins, but he's an old British guy that says like curse words, and that's interesting because it's Anthony Hopkins.
Is awesome.
And he's like, yeah, I'm actually part of a secret order called the Witwickens.
The Witwickens,
which seems to be like related to Sam somehow. They don't really talk about it. He says he's the last one, and then he's like, yeah, we've existed throughout history to protect the secrets of Transformers on Earth. And it turns out Megatron was not the first one here in like the 1800s, in the late 1900s, in the early like 1900s. Turns out they've been here forever. And he starts running through. It's like fucking Winston Churchill, Leonardo da Vinci, and he's naming like every famous. It's like Assassin's Creed, like condensed into like 2 minutes. No, it's like 30 seconds. Harriet Tubman, and like you're seeing like pictures of like Transformers like next to slaves.
The Underground Railroad. It was a real railroad, and the trains were Transformers. Like
you're seeing a painting of General Washington planning, and there's a Transformer behind him. And then it ends with a picture of Shia LaBeouf, and then they never talk about it again. And then they do a scene where Bumblebee was in World War II, and that's it. They never talk about it again, and that was sick. I really liked that.
Do you think the Decepticons helped like Hitler?
Yes, almost undoubtedly, actually, because I mean the Transformers
they start constructing stuff for him.
Yeah, they do. A Transformer killed Hitler. They do say they like there's like a watch in like a box, and she picks up the box, and then it starts like twitching, and like spikes come out of it. It's like, careful, that's the watch that killed Hitler. So a Transformer did assassinate Hitler.
I did watch the clip, the like 1 minute clip.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
I really like that they talk about all these like really, really good things in history and how all the Autobots helped them, but you have to assume that all the bad things were encouraged by them too.
Yeah,
every serious genocide, every like major war was just Decepticons like just fucking around.
Well, again, like the dinosaur extinction, that was precursor shit. That was also Transformers adjacent, which is really funny to me.
You think there's Decepticons on like kiwi farms, like trying to get people to blow up buildings?
Probably. I was sitting. So in Transformers 3, like the Decepticons like lay waste to like I think it's like Seattle or Boston, right?
Oh my god.
They just like lay waste to it. Me and Chris said like, okay, well they did 9/11, like half the body count, but like the city is like flattened. And then we watched the scene, and Chris is like, yeah, well I guess this makes sense. I mean, like we already got to the parts where the Decepticons did 9/11, and I was confused. And I thought in Transformers 2 they revealed that like the jets were Decepticons that like hit the towers. Like there was no hijacking. That was just like a Decepticon plot. But sadly awesome. that was not true. That's why there was no debris at the Pentagon. It just got up and walked away.
The Decepticons hit the fucking Pentagon.
They hit the fucking Pentagon. So honestly, that's probably the most boring one I have on my list.
The most boring?
Yes, that's probably the least interesting one on my list. That's just alt history shit. You know, anything can do that.
I love
anything can pull that
stuff.
off. The ones I have take a little more investment into the lore and psychosis and cope.
I just like that the very large amount of like Muslim hate in the US was actually created by Decepticons lying about the Muslims.
Yeah, no, there were no buildings. Yeah, those guys, no, those were just passengers. They were there was no hijacking.
The Boston bombing? Yeah, that bomb, that was a Decepticon.
I mean, honestly, like the shit they got, like Stephen Hawking was part of the Transformers Secret Order. They show a picture, and I think this was the year he died. That's the funny thing.
Holy shit.
I think this was after they died that they posthumously said he was actually a Transformers ally.
The Transformers ally. Oh god. They nuclear bombs were robots. They blew up Japan.
Yeah.
Oh. That is awesome. I'm a big fan.
It is sick. So you got one?
I got one. I guess. Can I spoil Chainsaw Man a little bit?
Is this the one about like Nazis?
Yes.
Okay, maybe we don't talk about like specific character names.
Okay.
We can just talk about the concept of what's happening.
The concept that something in Chainsaw Man has the ability to delete ideas comes out pretty
Yes.
late in the story, that that something can delete ideas, and they're like, yeah, the Nazis, like all these bad things that happened in the past, we deleted those ideas, they don't exist anymore, and they can't exist.
Someone asked another character, like, do you remember what the Nazis did to the Jews? And the person's just like, what do you mean Nazis? Like, it takes place in the 90s. This person just goes on to list off like AIDS. Like AIDS. We don't know. It doesn't exist anymore. Like, they start listing shit off like the star that if you looked at it like made children kill themselves, like the 5 other options besides death that happened at the end of our lives, they're all gone.
Yeah, they all got destroyed conceptually.
That is a great moment. That is probably one of the best moments in that series.
It's up there with Chainsaw Man 9/11.
Yeah,
might be above that.
Yeah, visually it's not that interesting, but just conceptually it's like, oh shit. Like, because I remember people are always like, is it what year does this take place in? Like, what alt history is it? Like, the Cold War clearly never ended here, because like they're still like talking about like Russia and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out it's because they've just been deleting concepts, so like people don't even remember like World War II. I thought
That's
that
so
was
cool,
super sick. Okay, I guess I'll do the one I'm a little more hands off with, and I just did a lot of research into Kingdom Hearts 3. Spoilers for Kingdom Hearts 3.
I don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts.
So as you know, Kingdom Hearts is it's Square Enix Disney crossover, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be like I guess this is more of a thing before Kingdom Hearts 3, but Kingdom Hearts 2, it's like, oh, we're going to Final Fantasy World, and Donald is going to interact with Sephiroth. And that's insane. In 3, it's really just the Square Enix OCs like Sora and shit, like the Kingdom Hearts OCs and Disney stuff. There's not really a lot of Square Enix stuff in 3, if any at all. But this game's director is Nomura. I don't remember his like first name. Or maybe his. So he's he's a Square Enix lifer kinda. He's been doing a lot of shit. He did
Squeenix for lifer.
Squeenix for life. He did for like, and literally I was hearing about this shit when I was like 12 on like video game podcasts. Final Fantasy 15 Versus. He was working on this.
Video game podcasts when you were 12.
I'm a broken man. Maybe I was 14. I don't know, but
that doesn't help.
Yeah, what do you want from me? What were you doing when you were 12?
I don't know. That moment right there was like your Transformers revelation for me.
Yeah. What? What do you want from me?
Video game podcast when you're 12.
I'm knowledgeable. I want to stay knowledgeable at the industry. I go far back, brother.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he was working on Final Fantasy 15 Versus for literally like 9 years. And I would keep hearing about that shit. And then it never came out, and then it got taken off the project, and they just put it out as Final Fantasy 15, and that doesn't seem to be his vision. And at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, throughout Kingdom Hearts 3, you realize that he's still very upset about this, and he's still pissed because in the Toy Story world, they see a video game on TV, and it's called like something Rex. I don't remember, but it is just Final Fantasy 15 Versus.
Yeah, and
then Rex says that's the coolest video game of all time. So they're in so in the Toy Story universe, Final Fantasy 15 Versus was the most popular and good video game of all time. So he's pissed there.
That's really good.
And then at the end, I may be mixing up the DLC and the secret ending. It's kind of one and the same for me. At the end of the game, Sora gets sent to like Japan, and it's probably like the World Ends With You universe. But then in his place, I think his name is like Yorizora. The guy from the fake Final Fantasy 15 Versus wakes up, and I think he's like a secret boss. So you fight the guy from 15 Versus, and you're like, oh, okay, like, you're still on this one. Like, it's like the fake version of him, but it's like, but okay, the secret, and then in the DLC that like really cements it So like a teaser for 15 verses. It's like a trailer again, like 10 years ago. It's basically like the main character like falling asleep in the car. Like it's kind of just like a POV shot of like him in the car, like a close up shot of him in the car. They're going through it, like just like driving around the city, and he goes to sleep. Yep. Secret ending, like the DLC, is him waking up. And it just continues the trailer. So it is very much him, very mad that his game was taken away from him. And he will mold Kingdom Hearts into Final Fantasy 15 versus over time.
That's really good.
That's pretty beautiful. I'm a big fan.
Just slowly realizing that we're becoming a different video game.
Yeah, which I think
Final Fantasy 15 versus now.
I think it's sick. I was actually disappointed when I saw the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer and Sora was in it. I thought we were gonna go full on like Yorizawa or whatever the fuck his name was. I don't like
Sora.
I mean, whatever. I don't know much about him, right? Yeah.
I don't really know either. I haven't played any of the games, but
I don't goofy shoes. Like him. That's about all I know. He cares about friendship, shoes. But don't all anime children.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't really shit on Sora. I'm not going to do that to the poor kid.
Do they progressively add more crossovers, or is it just like specifically Disney stuff? And
no, I mean, Frozen is in 3.
Yeah, but that's like, oh, I guess it is like Pixar, but I guess Pixar got bought up, munched on.
Yeah, they got a Toy Story and Frozen in 3. I think Pirates of the Caribbean, you know. But I mean, yeah. It's Disney stuff. They could do Star Wars in 4 now. Yeah. Which would make sense because he has just done lightsabers in his game. So,
so we can officially steal that now.
Yeah,
dude, this reminds me. I had a conversation with my parents not too long ago. I was talking about because they were watching some TV show, and it was like it was a story about a woman who like basically got away with killing somebody. Essentially, like she never got convicted. I don't remember who it was. I don't really care, but she didn't get convicted, and the whole show's about her and like paints her in a really bad light and all this. And I want more spite-driven major media. I want like somebody really pisses somebody else off, so they make a whole movie about how fucking dog shit they are.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's pretty funny when you see shit like that. When you see
this lady never got convicted, so technically she's like not a criminal, but you just make like a 8-episode, hour-long episodes about how fucking awful she was for her whole goddamn life.
Yeah, that's always an interesting.
I need more of that.
Yeah. Next, I have. Did you ever play Danganronpa? Of course not. Of course not.
I played almost all of 1.
Okay, yeah. So Danganronpa,
and I own all 3.
Danganronpa's about. Do you care if I spoil
it? Not particularly.
Okay. Danganronpa 1. You know, a bunch of kids, they're all good at something, get locked in a school killing game. Yes, classic. Killing game. We love it. That game ends with it revealing. They're like, oh, wow. Like, basically, the game starts with them going to, like, fucking orientation, blacking out, and then waking up and the school is, like, boarded up and, like, welded shut and they can't leave. It ends revealing that it's actually been a year that they've been in there and they welded it up themselves because the entire outside world collapsed in an apocalyptic hellscape. Danganronpa 2, you're on an island. It's a different cast. It's like a paradise. And throughout the entire game, they're just like the Monokuma, the antagonist, is like, oh, you'd have to be stupid. You'd have to think this is a video game to think that would work. And he keeps talking about how it's a video game. And at the end of the game, it is revealed that it is a simulation. Danganronpa 2 is a simulation. Danganronpa, that's, whatever, right? It's, it's fine.
I like the whole world has been collapsed one. That's like
yeah, it is a good ending. It's probably the best ending. I never played 3, but I did read about the ending of 3, and it is based, as some would call it.
Some. Potentially.
So Danganronpa, it's Danganronpa V3. That is the name of the game, right? Because it is Danganronpa V3. At the end of the game, and it's like future. It's like kind of sci-fi.
Okay.
At the end of the game, you, the player, learn, and maybe the characters as well, through like posters and advertisements, that you are playing in Danganronpa 53, the 53rd season of the Danganronpa reality TV show, based on the hit video game franchise Danganronpa. You're in a licensed product based on the hit video game franchise Danganronpa. You start
Oh, is
finding
that why it's
posters and shit.
V3? It's like
Yes, it's
5-3.
53.
Oh my
It's season
fucking
53,
god.
the longest running reality TV show of all time, based on the ever popular Danganronpa franchise.
Yes.
And that's the end of that game. So
that's really good. Wait,
that is sick.
So do they not build on like the world collapsing, or
they do in an anime that's maybe one of the worst animes I've ever seen in my entire life.
I started watching, they were releasing like 2 anime simultaneously.
I thought the release schedule was silly and wacky to a point that I wanted to see it. I don't know if they were doing alternating weeks or what, because I watched it once it was all out.
I think there were like 2 episodes a week.
Yes, so they had Danganronpa 3 the anime, and they would have like, it was like fucking Despair and like Hope or whatever, and one of them was a prequel to 1.
Yeah,
and the other one was
like starting at the school.
Yes, and like getting mind controlled, and like
the main character is like the best student of like luck.
Yes,
I think he was just lucky.
Yes, and then 3 is like and then like Despair is like a sequel to the 2. And
where like they're like fighting zombies, like Monokuma zombies in the streets.
It's really not a good show, and like it was the worst shit I've ever seen. Really, it sucked.
How is it?
So
I didn't finish it, but I did start watching it when it came out.
It's not good, brother. So I mean, yeah,
the games are so good. Like the games are genuinely really fun.
I do like the games a lot.
How do they fuck that up? Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just an anime project that they shit out. Okay, let me think. I can cut this, but I don't have any more.
I have one.
What is it?
How High?
I don't know what that is.
It's a movie.
No. Let's hear it. Oh yeah, you go.
Okay, so How High? It's a 2001 comedy, a weed smoking comedy. It's got like Method Man. And he's got a couple of the other Wu-Tang Clan members, right? I like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially the plot is that there's a guy who's trying to get into college, and it's like a group of 3 friends, and one of them's trying to like make their way and try to get into school or whatever, and then one of their friends dies. His house, he falls asleep smoking a joint, drops it on his shirt, and it lights his shirt on fire, and his house is on, and then like his house is on fire, and he jumps out the window and dies on impact with the ground because he's on the 5th floor.
Damn.
And so he's like dead like 15 minutes in, and they mourn him and stuff, and so they cremate his body, and in commemoration of how much he loved weed, they used his ashes to grow weed. And then when they smoke said weed, they see his ghost. And his ghost shows up and is like, "Hey, what's going on, man? Like, I'm the ghost. It's me." And, you know, they freak out for a little bit, but they come to realize, okay, this is kind of, you know, this is awesome, right? And they use ghost weed to have their dead friend help them get into college, like a really good college.
But they're going to run out of weed.
Maybe, eventually. But, you know, then the shenanigans with, like, other people smoking that weed and seeing him, and, like, black people running in with preppy white guys in college, and how that all goes, right? Yes. But at the end of the movie, there's this big event. Everything goes right for these guys. Like, they get like the hottest girlfriends. Like, the president of the United States shows up and is like, "You guys are pretty cool, and like we should smoke sometime." And it's awesome. But then it also, I'm pretty sure it implies that like this has happened in the past, because they smoke weed, and like the ghost of Benjamin Franklin shows up. And it essentially implies at the end of the movie that like people in the past have like smoked the ashes of other people, or that also the school has the ashes of these like ghosts.
That's insane. That's actually
ancient sick. Old people. And Benjamin Franklin shows up and like shoots a cannon and like hits a guy with a cannonball. It's awesome. I love that.
That sounds kind of based. When you said How High and it was 2001, I thought you were about to tell me about the romantic comedy where the end, like the twist ending, is that they're like on a building, and then you look at the calendar and it's September 11th, 2001, and then they get hit by the plane.
Is that real?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Romantic comedy, 9/11 twist ending.
Babe, I really love the Twin Towers. Oh yeah, we can visit. I'm off at like 4:18 a.m. tomorrow. We can go hang out at like one of the higher floors. I think that'd be a great time.
Okay, it's Remember Me, and I'm pretty sure Robert Pattinson gets fucking dusted. It's a 2010
awesome.
movie.
2010 movie.
Would be crazy if it came out in 2001 though, right?
That would be so.
Just twist ending right after 9/11. Hey guys, it's not over. We're still
no,
going.
it just came out like July. Like it just came out before it predicts 9/11.
Did you fucking
what?
Dude, fucking Advanced Wars got delayed like indefinitely or something.
What is Advanced Wars?
It's like a fucking, it's made by the Fire Emblem people. Nintendo does it. And the first time they're putting it out here, like they tried to put one out on GBA. The release date was like September 12th, 2001, and it's about how fun and wacky war is.
That's awesome.
So they said, "Hey guys, we'll hit you with this one later. Y'all not ready for this one." And then they're putting out a remake of one. Ukraine happens. And it's like, oh, we're not. We'll hit you later. Y'all not ready for this one about how fun and wacky war is. So they just keep trying to put it out during cultural landmarks of war and destruction.
They're waiting until there's not a major war going on to release their fun and wacky war game.
I guess. I guess they're waiting for a major war to be going on that doesn't involve white people. Is probably, the actual.
Because it's all white people in the game.
Well, no, I can't tell you what's in the game, but I mean, I feel like we're Dustin Brown people left and right, but Europe happens and suddenly the fucking Reddit detectives are on it, being like, "Hey guys, there's fucking Ukraine like enlisting subreddits." It's really fucking weird.
Do you think the guy that typed "We did it, Reddit, we caught the Boston bomber" was an Autobot?
Yeah, I do. There are several Autobots that would fit that description. I can't name any of them. They all fucking go. And I don't think with the Transformers movies is that they all have like 17 characters, and they're all new every time.
Yeah,
and half of them are humans. That's the crazy part. It's not even like they're like, okay, we got to shove in like 6 new Autobots of like Thing I Know, right? You can't just. They're not just shoving in. It's like, hey, here's Michael Bay's like new white exotic woman OC that looks down on the main protagonist. There's one in every movie. What?
Yeah. Do you remember the first movie? The robot that looks like a hot woman and seduces Shia LaBeouf so that she can like kill him with her like tail?
That might be 2 because I didn't fucking see that.
Was that in 2?
I do not remember that. Yeah.
Well, he has like the hot mechanic girl.
Yeah.
And he like goes to school, and then at the school there's even a hotter tanned woman with fat tits that seduces him in his room, and you see him like on the bed, her on top of him, and then like under her skirt, like it starts zooming in on her skirt, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And a giant tail, like a thin tail, comes out with a needle.
That had to be 2 because I do not.
And like aims at his head, and then like the mechanic girl who was like kind of jealous the whole time and was like, what's going on? She was first she was just suspicious of another
Megan
girl.
Fox.
Yeah, Megan Fox. Yeah. And then she's like, wait, I think there's an actual plot going on. And she busts in the room, and it's like a giant jaguar robot.
That had to be 2.
It can look like a human.
That had to be 2.
That was awesome. That was a really cool scene. I like that a lot.
Another thing I noticed watching these movies is that like they follow the same progression as the games industry, right? Where games used to be, I'm gonna rip and tear, right? Mm-hmm. And now every like AAA video game coming out is like, I'm a dad now. I, the developer, am a dad, and I will tell you about what it's like to be a dad. God of War, Last of Us, it's all this shit.
Yeah,
you know
Doom.
What I mean? Yeah, Doom, not Doom, but I mean,
you're a dad in Doom.
Are you? I didn't play
the whole human race.
Yeah, that is so true. But I mean, Last of Us and God of War, it's like, I'm a dad now. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah.
The ethos behind it. And Transformers follows a similar path where Michael Bay is like, I'm a pedophile, and I'm gonna fuck these teenage girls. And then in like 5, Mark Wahlberg like adopts a child.
What?
And like he doesn't like adopt a child. Like that's the weird thing is that I'm kind of wondering why they did it, because in 4 Mark Wahlberg like has a college age daughter. Yeah. But I believe Michael Bay removed her so he would not lust after the child. So he instead introduced a 6-year-old that didn't quite hit his threshold of wanting to fuck a 15-year-old. This is based on. Let me fucking find it. Michael Bay. I feel like I'm about to be put on a list for what I'm about to type in here.
They fly to like there's like a scene in 4 where they fly to Epstein's Island on an Autobot. Because he's like, I'm the only one that knows the route.
Megan Fox, when she was 15, was asked to dance in a bikini when she was 15 for Michael Bay. So awesome. I can actually stand by my decision of calling him a pedophile. But like you know what I mean? Where like he went through this arc that all video games do, where it's like I'm an epic guy who wants to fuck teenagers to being like I'm a dad now, and I'm so remorseful for my past actions.
Past actions of fucking teenagers.
Like he literally like removes the college kid. He like sends her to college just so she's not in 5.
I don't need her anymore.
So Mark Wahlberg can get a new younger kid. And then she's only in it for like 5 minutes of the movie because there's 17 fucking characters. And there's no time for any of them. Yeah, so all that stuff I said about Michael Bay was parody or alleged, whatever is legally better.
It's not real.
Allegedly, Megan Fox was asked to dance in a bikini when she was 15 for Michael Bay. And I honestly didn't click on the article, but I assume all of his other rich pedophile friends. But those are just assumptions based on me. But yeah,
the liberal elites.
Yeah, it hit me like a truck. And also, Transformers 5 has like these insane cuts. Like it has like a lot of cuts where the aspect ratio changes from like TV ratio to movie ratio. It happens like almost near constantly. Every other shot's a different aspect ratio. I'm not even kidding. And really sometimes the aspect ratio changes in the scene.
That's really artsy. I'm glad Michael Bay is finally embracing his inner like cinephile.
It's Michael Bay
instead of his inner pedophile.
Yeah, we love him. It's April. We love him.
This is April, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not. Every movie is kind of probably marred by some terrible criminal. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like I remember for the Content Cube, my other podcast. We were like tier listing movies, right? It was like a bracket, and I was trying to argue that like Goblet of Fire was like better than like Avengers Endgame, just to like fuck over Zach. And he's like, J.K. Rowling transphobic, and I'm like, I don't know, dude. I feel like every video, I feel like every producer on this list like is probably like a pedophile or like knowingly friends with one.
Yeah,
like I'm pretty sure they've like networked at like the spine eating parties. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
Like, I don't know, man. Whatever. I couldn't. Did you know that like Quantic Dream is doing a Star Wars game? The Detroit Become Human people.
Oh no,
Heavy Rain people. They're doing a Star Wars game, and it's like an open world action game. And it reminded me of when Trump like gave the Puerto Rico like infrastructure rebuild to like his friend of like a company of 2. It was like, how the fuck did like Quantic Dream like get no one even works there. Like they had to delay the game because they can't hire anyone because David Cage is like allegedly a racist like sexual abuser, but he owns the company so they can't fire him. Like
I think worst of all, he's just a bad writer.
He is a terrible writer, and I just assume like he and Bob Iger like Lady and the Tramp on like a child's spine and like their lips touched.
They had to have.
Like I assume that like David Cage is like blackmailing Bob Iger or something. I just could not figure that shit out.
I don't know what else. I hate Detroit Become Human.
I think it's sick. I think it's a great game.
I played the whole thing on stream and I got so many people killed.
Who'd you get
I got
killed?
the Jesus allegory character killed pretty early on, actually.
I think I did early on.
Yeah, so there's a certain scene where he's leading like a protest through the streets.
Yeah,
and the police stop him.
And you didn't help the slave.
If you don't talk to this fuck off janitor like 2 missions prior, then
he doesn't get
he doesn't dive in front of the bullet for you. So
Yeah, he
you're
doesn't
the main
get
guy
down,
just
Mr.
gets
President.
shot.
But you did get to the part where David Cage is like, fighting oppression is easy. You just go up to someone, touch their shoulder, and say you're free now, and then you lead a march.
That is awesome.
I don't know. I think if the Connor and Mr. Krabs plotline was just the entire movie,
would have been better.
Yeah, I mean, Clancy Brown is great. The Connor Clancy Brown arc, like I genuinely think if that was just the whole game, I think it'd genuinely be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hell, I'd probably replay it if I could just do that. I remember when I replayed it, I just tried to speed run getting the girl and Jesus killed, just so I could get more Connor and Clancy Brown like condensed. Because I genuinely thought that stuff was like kind of good.
Yeah.
Like
that's right. The third plot line is the girl that the robot girl that kidnaps the daughter of some abusive parent and is on the run.
Yeah. And that's
do you remember the scene, the Jesus timeline one where he gets put into the bot garbage dump?
Yeah,
and there's all the faces in the walls like yelling at him.
Yeah, and he steps out and puts on a trench coat.
Yeah, you have to QTE up a wall for 2 minutes, and then he puts on a jacket that's just on a pole, and he walks off into the sun.
I don't know. The Clancy Brown stuff in that game is like genuinely like decent. Like it's genuinely like it's almost good. I'd almost say it's good, not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That stuff at the end where like he's like coming to terms with like his own bias and shit. Like I don't know. I thought that stuff's like genuinely like fun and goofy. Like the detective shit, I liked it. There's like enough action in there. Everything else is so fucking sleeper, dude. Holy shit. In the fucking when you're playing as Marcus, I don't know if it's the Jesus or like the girl, but I remember there's a part. No, I think it's the girl, and that kidnaps the other girl. They go to like Canada, where where androids are human or whatever, much like slavery. And they fucking get there, and a black woman meets them, and it's like why are you helping
the border
us?
Of the snow.
Yeah, and she's like, why are you helping us? And the black woman's like, my people were once enslaved too. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is some of the wackest shit I've seen in a long time. But honestly, that game's pretty good. If the listener can get it on like a sale, I do think it's like worth, especially if like you have someone playing with you. I played it with Madison, my girlfriend.
Yeah, we had
a grand old time. Yeah, a stream would work too. It's a grand old time, honestly. There's just some parts that like when you're playing as Marcus and you have to like get to Jericho or whatever, you have to find Jericho.
Yeah.
I think I was literally like allegedly calling out for the death of the developers. I think Madison was actually getting uncomfortable, but like how much I was like calling for violence against them, because you're walking for like 15 minutes and nothing's happening.
Yeah,
you're just like looking for puzzle pieces. It's terrible. It's like it was so infuriating. I remember being like, if this next one isn't the one, I'm turning off the game, like because you keep finding the pieces and being like, not this one. And after like 10 minutes, I'm like, if this one isn't the one, I'm turning off the game. And I shut off the game. And we didn't play for like 3 days. And I had to redo it all because I didn't hit a checkpoint. There was no checkpoint.
That's I love that. Checkpoint-based gaming.
Yes.
Here, I gotta blow my nose real fast, but I have one more actually that I just thought of.
I have one thing to say about Detroit that might fit here.
Go for it.
I mean, it's Detroit, like the twist with the woman that kidnaps the girls, that the girl's also an android. And like, that's like, almost interesting, but like I knew about that like instantly, because like when you're in her house and like clearing it out, I looked at a magazine. It's like, oh shit, you're allowed to have kids without the android stamp on them, so they're indistinguishable from real kids. And I'm like, well, it's kind of weird to put that in your lore when I'm looking at a kid like in this scene. And then I saw an ad for like child robots in the home, like a flyer.
Yeah, Cage so is trying to justify his feelings towards children.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't really understand, because
the robots.
I thought I don't know, man. It was just super weird. Where I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is, because in lore it would make no sense, right? Like I wouldn't even sell child robots. That seems like an insane coping mechanism, or you're a pedophile. So that's terrible already. 2, I can think of no reason to not put the android stamp on them, right? That's insane. That's insane. Like, why? So like I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, either David Cage is the stupidest person in the entire universe, or he's very stupid and he's just using these insane like contrivances to justify making this girl a robot later, which he does. So that is one of the worst examples of writing I've ever seen. And it's just not an interesting twist because you know about it instantly if you look in the magazine.
I need child robots. I need child robots.
Yeah.
So that I can replace my my child workers.
Yeah.
But I still need the robots to fit within the crevices of the machinery that I use to produce funny graphic tees.
Speaking of child labor, sorry to get off track. Did you hear that? Did you hear that Elon just might not do it?
What?
He might just not buy Twitter.
Wait, I thought he already bought it.
He is contractually obligated to, but the penalty is only $1 billion if he backs out. The market doesn't even believe it because Twitter is trading at like 49 last I checked. And if the market actually believed that this deal was going to go through, it'd be trading at 54, right?
Why would he back out?
Well, I mean, it's $50 billion that's entirely debt fueled. It has like a $2 billion annual, like he took out like 17 fucking loans and the interest works out to
half of it was like his money, right?
Maybe. Yeah, that could be true. But the interest,
like 22 billion was like his.
Yeah, but like the loans work out to like $1 billion or $2 billion payment, like annual.
Jesus.
And like there's also a clause where if Tesla goes down 40% from when the loan was taken, he has to pay it all back instantly. Which would crash Tesla more because he doesn't have that much money liquid. He'd have to sell Tesla stock.
Damn, dude.
So,
I don't.
You think he might just back out? Like he might just back out. What is Twitter trading at right now?
That guy's a cringe loser, and he's gonna make Twitter worse than it already is.
I can't imagine him making it worse, but he is cringe.
When I log into Twitter, I don't want my "Am I a Robot" captcha to be like click on the me gusta face. Like I don't want that.
Oh, I mean, it is. I don't know. I think he sucks. I don't think he's ever made a single good thing in his life. But I don't know. Twitter is maybe the worst run company of all time. Yeah, Twitter's trading at 49 right now. Like theoretically, if you believed it was going to happen, wouldn't this be an infinite money glitch? Shouldn't you invest all your money into Twitter right now?
I already did.
But well, payday's coming for you, maybe. Like theoretically, I could just buy all these shares, right? And then theoretically, it'd be infinite money. But the market doesn't even believe that that's going to happen. I just thought that was interesting. I learned about that last night.
That's really cool.
It's just like, oh shit, like that's crazy actually. that it's just not. It hasn't like gone up to 54, which is what it's going to be automatically bought for soon. So, I don't know. Okay, yeah, sorry. You had one more thing.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it. I think one of the game series that has the most moments like this is Resident Evil. And
Resident Evil does have a lot of base shit.
I've been playing through Resident Evil 6 with our good friend Jake.
Yeah.
We've been co-oping the experience because there's 5 campaigns.
Boy, I know it.
And I don't know if you've played any RE6.
I have. I've played a bit of it.
We played through 3 of the campaigns. And one of the twists off the top of my head that pissed me off the most is who are the characters? I think it's Wesker's son.
Yeah.
The villain from like all the Resident Evil games.
Wesker's son, Leon.
Yeah, but it's Wesker's son and this like random girl that he's like saving, who's a new character to the whole series.
Yeah.
And you're getting chased around by this giant guy with a drill arm for like a good portion of this campaign, and you eventually break out, and she gets like injured along the way, and you're like laying on the ground, and you come to find out that she actually just has like natural healing and can't really die. At like halfway through the campaign of playing as her.
Interesting.
And I'm like, damn, I'm really happy this has 0 gameplay implications whatsoever. That one of the characters literally just cannot die. It's so fucking weird, dude. RE6 is like watching it. It's like watching a Michael Bay movie, like, but you layered 2 of the movies over the top of each other.
That almost killed Resident Evil. That's how fucking whack that game is.
It's awesome. I mean, it's horrible to play. Like actually playing it is dog shit. We're playing on the hardest difficulty. And
it's a choice.
But in the last campaign we played, we found out that Leon Kennedy got framed. the president of the United States got killed, and Leon Kennedy got framed for it. And it turns out it was actually like the vice president. And then once you figure that out, he's like, "Oh, you figured it out, huh?" And he like injects himself, and he becomes a giant monster that's either like a 30-foot long like jaguar or the vice president. And he like mighty morphs between the two.
I think I dislike, I don't know. I guess I don't like, I guess I don't dislike Village, and that does some similar stuff, but when the T virus or whatever turns you into like a fucking T-Rex, I'm like, there's a little much.
Yeah, the T virus is like, it's so fucking funny because there's a we're playing whoever the guy from the Resident Evil 5 is. He has a campaign with Chris with his twink like underling, who is like he emanates like gay energy so hard.
I thought you were talking about 5. And I'm I'm talking about that's 6. That's a woman.
No, she's one of the best characters in the whole thing. I love her.
Yeah. She never showed up. No,
Chris's partner in 6 is like he's like a twink bottom, and but they have a flashback together where they're in like an actual like, or they're in like fucking Russia or something, like doing a mission, and they're like, all right, these are new mutants, and they're extremely intelligent. And right after you hear that, you go into fight. You just see these guys with like a big stick that they're slamming in their hands, going like "abba abba wab da ba ba ba," as they're like as they're being declared as extremely intelligent. It's so, the whole game is so fucking funny.
You remember the Village section from 5?
Yes,
one of the most
where you're like driving around a pontoon boat.
I remember, when I was listening to podcasts when I was 13, that there was a racism controversy with this game. And then I was playing 5 with Madison. I'm like, I guess I see it. We are just kind of brutalizing black people, and they don't really seem that zombie-like. And then you get to the Village.
And it's actually just regular people.
You get to the Village, and they are just like tribal, like bone-and-nose people. I'm like, I see. I'm seeing the
really
issue
hard
here.
Enemies are like 9 feet tall and just have giant masks, and they like lumber towards you.
Yeah, seeing reactions to that on YouTube is like one of my favorite things. Or you'll just like watch a streamer play and they go, "Oh no!" Like they just seeing people lose their shit at the Village section from 5 is like it's always funny. Choice. One of the most insane
It does not hold up. One of the worst segments in the game too, where you're driving around in a pontoon boat trying to get to these little islands, like grab parts to open a door. Yeah, you have to like punch crocodiles and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking
all right.
blows.
You want to call it? I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, I'm out.
All right. See you next week, dear listener. Yeah, they like being called that, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, folks,
Stunbuds,
people.
I don't know. We need a name for them.
No,
Stunbuds. Yeah. All right. See you next week. Have a good one. Be kind to each other. Goodbye.